game of the first half of the LEC split.
G2 Esports versus Misfits Gaming. Will G2 find the 9-0? First half of the split completely undefeated, well on the road to the perfect split, or will Misfits stop them here? That is what we're going to find out, folks.
And the irony is, it was Misfits who were in this position last split. They were the ones securing the 9-0, moving on to an 11-0, or 10-0 rather, before their downfall began. So it could be Misfits to stop the win streak, or it could be Misfits to continue it.
And frankly, this is also the Euphoria bet. This is the moment, Dracos. If Wonder wins here, he's 9-0, and we have to give an apology.
Yeah, I do feel like if we have to mention bet, now is the time before we get into the seriousness of the game. Yes, we do have to apologize formally to Wonder if he wins this. So Misfits, I know I said rude things about you in the rap video, but it might be good if you won this one.
So, in terms of compositions, I think Misfits have a very standard front-to-back style comp. I think their team fighting is really good. You're kind of looking at very much the 3-item threshold for this Misfits squad, largely because of the Callista. When she has Rage Blade, Blade of the Ruin King, and Runan's Hurricane finish, she is a terror. And when you look at all the squishy members on the side of G2, that is a lot of like AoE damage output that she's able to put in these fights. And you pair that up with the Karthus, there's just a lot of damage. They have really good objective control as well because of how fast it is.
Skittles and Rend.
Exactly. So like this Misfits comp is very much about, they have a strong mid game, they are really strong once they hit their item points, and that's when they'll try and look to utilize this comp.
I mean, you talk about a strong mid game, but I also think if you look at G2's composition, this mid game power spike after 2 items on most of these champions is absolutely terrifying. And while there are a lot of tools for Misfits to fight front to back, we talked about that Wall of Pain, the Thresh Lantern, the fact that Callista is so highly mobile as an ADC, that's still a Yasuo and an Aurelia and an Elise and a Jarvan. There's just as many tools on G2's comp to get to that backline and rip Hansama apart.
And the bad news is, Yasuo a lot stronger on this patch. His itemization with the static shift very good. He can also go for the Feint Advance for a more defensive option. Things are good for Yasuo players right now. Bad news is the Aurelia in the mid lane no longer reduces magic damage with the Defiant Dance. So in theory, Febiven may have a much easier laning phase in this patch than he would have in the past.
I thought that was going to be like a good news. Yasuo very strong this patch. Bad news, you're going to see him a lot in your solo queue games.
That's also bad news, but we have a big fat ban button for those ones.
I see him so much in solo queue. Fortunately, knocked him in as a primary counter. Anyway. Looking at how the laning phase is shaping up, we've got to keep our eyes on Jankos as well. Already level 3 and looking for a mid lane gank. Febiven has set up the push, former teammates going at it.
Moving forward, going to try to look to set up the stun here. Gets the immediate respect flat from Febiven. He's not taking any risk, but Caps now in a great position to try to just sit here and soak up all this XP.
I just want to take a second to appreciate how clutch that E from Jankos was in between the 2 minion waves. That was going to hit Febiven, and he had to flash there, otherwise he would have lost his life. So really good stuff there. Nice to see that Jankos hasn't lost his Elise mechanic.
But here comes this dive. We were talking about it. So as knew it was going to come, he had the option to pick anything. He has the Scion. See if he can survive.
Season 3 all over again. So he's getting flashbacks. Oh, Trauma comes out. Not sure if he's going to be able to get it. Goes right back in the air. Trade turret aggro. So it's so incredibly low, but they're going to try to turn it back. First blood to Jankos. You just cannot stop this Elise from diving people.
It is just so devastating. We've seen it globally more so on the Renekton, but meanwhile mid.
Caps dashing out to safety. Wall of Pain. Where's he going to go? That's skilled at this point. We'll just focus on clearing the wave instead. The Flay going to knock him back. But now Perkz is getting aggressive on the Gorilla. The exhaust is coming out with the Ignite is ticking as well. We're looking for that third stack on the queue. Throws it out. Perkz leaping right back up to safety, but the Rend is available as well. Hansama, Mickey now. Pulled back, could be caught out here. Are they going to go down? Mickey now knocking Hansama back. That is a brutal turn. Gorilla needs to get him out to safety. They're burning him down. The Flame comes out. This is on the edge. Who is going to get Hansama with the first kill? Perkz now running for his life. The powered Badu is there. He's going to get the knockup. One traded back. Now he's on the hunt for Gorilla. If he can get one more here, this could decide everything in the early bot lane, but Gorilla is going to flash to safety.
Oh, disaster. The fact that Hansama held the heal for so long, though, to bait G2 to try and trade 1-for-1, but in the end, I believe it's Misfits who expend all of their summoner spells, whereas on the other side, Perkz and Mickey still have access to flash.
The reality is Perkz is still sitting here farming. He was the one that walks away with his life. So while it's all well and good that Hansama gets himself a kill, Perkz is more than happy in terms of how that trade played out.
And this is exactly how Perkz and Mickey like to play lanes. They are so incredibly aggressive. They kill a lot of people, and they also, to be fair, die a certain amount. You can see kills at 15, Perkz 1. Des also 1. This man loves to fight, and that engage was the quintessential example of that.
And it's not just Perkz, it's also Mickey. These guys live on the edge.
They certainly do. They love to trade, and they love to look for these fights in the early game, and so far, things have worked out nicely for them. So we've got an aggression top side of the map from G2, we've got aggression bot side, and let's take a look back at how this replay played out. The hook initially lands onto Gorilla, which means, Mickey rather, which means Perkz immediately goes onto Hansama. Hansama spaces in a way that doesn't allow Perkz to get on top of him, and a good sidestep here from Hansama to dodge out on the tornado, and at this point you think G2's going to disengage. With Misfits, they're not done quite yet.
And the fact that this fight goes so long that both Gorilla and Mickey get double access to a death sentence, as well as the stun from Alistar. Now, there was the heal bait from Hansama. He gets pushed out of position by Mickey, has the heal though, trades 1-for-1, but like you said, at the end of the day, one marksman remained in the bot lane and one didn't.
Perkz now going for the all-in. Yanko's getting the immediate follow-up CC, but Perkz is taking a lot of tower damage back. Caps rather in the mid lane. Yanko's gonna take him out immediately. The Elise dive comes through yet again. G2 with another kill.
Yankos' early game on this Elise has been nothing but impressive so far. You know, we talked a lot about the bot lane, but this man in the jungle, he's shown a lot throughout this split. He's now on a very aggressive early game jungle pick, and he has found 3 successful ganks so far this game.
And this is classic G2, where its top, mid, and bot are now all winning. And Misfits, they're the early game team next to G2. They were supposed to put up a fight against this.
But they drafted themselves the Karthus, and it's really important to remember that they won't be able to match the power of Elise in the early game. They've just got to weather this storm as much as possible. And right now, that's the big battle between these two teams. Can Maxwell get to a point where his Karthus can just press R and he wins his team fights? Or will G2 be able to snowball through the massive leads that Yankos is getting in the jungle to the point at which Misfits won't be able to come back?
It's difficult now with Caps finding that assist there in the mid lane. The Sheen coming through as well, so the burst damage threat just continues to grow. Bev been doing his best to play this lane patiently, but stunned. The hitbox there on the Flawless Duet, still huge, still difficult for the Rise to survive in this lane phase.
I think we have the possibility of a dive being set up. I think a big wave's about to push in.
Keeping our eyes on the box out of the back. Mickey ready, Perkz with the level 6. He's going to immediately fall off the chase. Once again is clutch. Perfect. Gorilla can get nothing back, and Mickey just going to walk out from that one. Perfect execution from G2.
And it's just terrifying how quickly they turn that on. You could tell that Misfits had no idea what just hit them there.
And Yankos, he passed through the river. Perkz not quite done yet, but a good play there from Gorilla.
As the tornado is not going to follow up anymore, but will force Gorilla back and interrupt some of that back timing. And it's incredible to me how many times the Cocoon, combined with whatever CC is coming in from the laners, is just perfectly timed. It's the Flawless Duet into the Cocoon. It is the knockup into the Yasuo ult into the Cocoon, and it just seems like they have been playing so much WoW Arena that their CC layering is just flawless.
And it's now starting to bleed over into Maxlor's jungle. We talked about how important that Karthus is. He's the late game insurance policy, and now he is suffering because his laners have collapsed around him.
And I love the way in which G2 are playing around their spikes as well, because early on it was like, okay, Wonder is stronger at these early few levels. Let's set up the dive at like the level 3 mark, they get the kill. Let's try and force Rise to burn his flash early so Caps can play aggressive during the laning phase. The moment he hits level 6, oh, who's there? Elise. Perfectly on time. Bot lane, Perkz, hits level 6. Who's there? Elise, just on time again. And I can't help but praise how Yanko's just been in the right place at the right time across the entire board.
And the thing is in these Karthus games, and oftentimes in the Olaf games as well, we don't really get to see Yanko show his hand as an early game pathing jungler. It doesn't happen. He's often much more about the farming. But in this game, he's been going insane. And you talked about it, the First Blood King. And this is really a return to that kind of Yankos.
I mean, frankly, he hasn't needed to. When all of his lanes just automatically win, he can play a farming jungler like the Karthus that he's done in the past and just farm them up towards the late game. But this time around, they're showing almost the true form of G2 when Yankos is on point, as well as all of the G2 solo laners.
In a difficult position to be in now as well. Perkz is going to clear out a bit more vision. You have the Tiamat and the Sheen, a lot of way clear in the mid lane for Caps. You have the early jungle enchant coming out for Yankos. All 3 of those kills in his back pocket. A lot of resources in the Elise, and Perkz as well, working towards that first item. Be a big break point for the Yasuo, of course. Crit scaling on Yasuo, pretty gross. Attack speed also is cooldown reduction for his Q. So very, very good first item.
Round 2.
Oh no, Yankos. Come on, can you just calm down for a second? The fact that he's even beaten Maxlor in farm as well is just goes to show how much of a good game he has. They're even aware of where Maxlor is in their own jungle right now. The pings have come down. Yankos setting up a trap.
Oh, no,
Wonder is going for the 1v1 top.
This Elise will one-shot him if they find each other in the jungle. The 1v1 top is exciting, most certainly, but this game of chicken in the jungle is exciting to watch as well. Maxlor playing with fire here as he moves in.
So we haven't even had an opportunity to take stock of the goal difference. 2.5k already, 10 minutes into the game. G2 have had full control over this early game. They drafted a lot of attack damage, and it's their AP damage, the one source that they have that's getting extremely fed right now as they look for another play.
The play is huge. Move forward. Mickey gonna find the knockup. They're trying to keep the CC together. There they go. They are just gonna back off. One wall's there to deny on some of the damage. The knockup still connects, and they're just gonna walk away. Did not want to commit anymore.
That Perkz is holding on to his ultimate, so despite the fact that he had many opportunities to pop it there, I think they're actually taking stock of the fact that Maxwell has access to Requiem. Don't want to dive too deep.
True, it's very, very true. And Yanko's continuing to invade. He has pressure mid, he has pressure top. He needs to be careful though. But has the blast going to just get to safety? So they're already setting up a lot of vision towards the top side. But this could indicate that right now they're looking for a Rift Herald play within the next couple of minutes. But for the time being, they just want to steal more and more camps away from Maxwell as they go for another roll.
Out, double connect means Caps can dip dive his way through the team. CC is not going to connect. First one to miss from Jankos this game. Goes up, comes down onto the camp, and is going to walk away. Bevan now trying to turn this back, but not a lot of mana in the pool. We'll have to back off, but a rare fumble there for the G2 lineup.
But Yanko is getting what he wants. He's trying to steal away these camps. He doesn't have the smite up, but it doesn't matter because Maxwell can't get anything. And this is putting Maxwell even further behind, and it's better snowballing G2 in this early game.
And it's also isolating the lanes. The more that Jankos can keep Maxwell away from A, scaling up into the late game, but also impacting any of these lanes, his laners are winning on their own. He just needs to keep Maxwell busy.
Now we see the Mountain Drake going to fall as well, so one of these advantages moving over. More threat onto the Baron to match what the Karthus and the Kalista are going to try to put out on the side of Misfits, but already we see G2 so incredibly far ahead. 3k gold lead, 4-1 the kill score, and no towers have fallen yet, but a lot of turret plating already in the favor of G2, and start talking to me about outs. What are we looking at for Misfits here? How do they get themselves back to this game? How do they make up for this massive gold difference?
Well, their options are still very much around those item spikes that we talked a lot about. The thing for Ryze is once he's got his tier fully stacked and once he's completed his second item, then he's in a better position to be able to duel champions like the Aurelia and the Jarvan. And on top of that, you've got to remember that Kalista is very much, she's at her strongest when she has Blade of the Ruin King and she has the Rage Blade. That's when she really outputs a lot of damage. The problem is, Yasuo is really strong when he has Static Shield Infinity Edge, and at the rate that they're going, he's going to get to that point much earlier than Hansama is going to get to his 2 spikes.
And now it's going to be hard to control the wave as well because he does have access to the Static Shiv, which makes his wave clear even that much more oppressive.
Yeah, and as you can see already, he's in a 1v2 right now. He's just forcing them back, but they also have that awareness. Okay, there's an Alistar and there's an Elise coming in through the river. We've got to back away. This is more turret plating gold going into the back pocket of Perkz.
So many early turrets going down.
Mickey's not even approaching the tower. He says, Perkz, you can have all of this gold. Let's get you to that Infinity Edge. Let's get you that massive spike where you get 100% crit chance.
And frankly, I think that Misfits are really late on making this play. You can see that they're starting to rotate Thresh and Kalista up towards the Rift Herald while it's already been started by Karthus. They should have just sacked this bottom lane immediately and rotated up to it faster.
Yeah, I think they could have swapped the lanes and then, you know, just traded objectives. At the very least, you could have then gotten Hansama and Gorillas and turret plating up towards the top side of the map. Regardless, they've now made the play, they've made the swap happen, and already Mickey is on his way. You got to respect that that Jarvan Alistar combo as well. That's no slouch, especially against a very weakened Hansama. Look, Wonder already lying in wait. He's by himself.
They're expecting the swap. Mickey currently unhidden, has the flash available. They're just gonna move forward. The flash, great taxi there to bring it in. Oh, Hansama doesn't even gonna push a button.
The perfect CC chain there. Mickey using the flash, hitting the pulverize into the flag and drag into the Jarvan ult. The fact that Hansama had flash and heal and just exploded.
Yeah. And we thought maybe there would be some contention here in this early game. Obviously, any game is a G2 favorite game right now. They are, no doubt in our mind, the strongest team in the LEC, but Misfits are just absolutely getting smashed.
I mean, so one of the things to me that I think was very evident so far in this game is that G2 expected the Kalista to come through. They probably weren't expecting to get Yasuo, but they clearly had a game plan in mind, which is Hansama, when he doesn't have Lucian and Draven, will go Kalista. And Mickey, as his former support, has even said there are champ pool issues, and right now they're just looking to continuously punish it. And so far this game, they've done a fantastic job of it.
They're just going to walk away here. Knowing when to go in and when to go out, you kind of expect G2 to always go for those aggressive plays, but they do decide to back off, not looking to give anything up here. So despite the massive lead, still willing to play this one slow and systematically. Wonder extending the trade here up against Soaz, still a very tanky Scion. Wonder, of course, with the black leader means the longer he stays in the fight, the better it is. And of course, Caps could come down if he wants to. For now, Wonder just standing in front of the Scion, know where he's positioned. He just wants to block the ulti escape for Soaz. Elise coming down as well as Soaz moves up. The ulti finally going to come out. Cannot be displaced. Such a close escape from Soaz. If Jarvan had hit him, he would have died.
Great positioning from Wonder, like you said, trying to walk that one down, but Soaz does manage to get out, and his flash just off of cooldown will now be much safer as he wants to extend into those lanes.
Maxwell tried to set up a gank in mid, but Caps was able to avoid that without burning any summoner spells. Yanker's now making his way mid lane as well. Remember that the risk of a dive is very real against this Elise, and now they just have free access to the tower.
Gorilla's here. That stun connects. No, not going to go for the follow-up. Cocoon does land, but no immediate follow-up damage. Spider just going to poke at the shield, and Perkz left uncontested on a side lane. Not just an AD carry in this game, but also a side laner as well. Yasuo at this stage of the game, very obnoxious to play against.
And this... Oh, got him.
Flay comes out. No X-Flash for you.
This felt like a race top lane. Gorilla and Mickey both like trying to get up to that top lane to see who was going to get the dive or the counter dive first.
Caps focusing on the tower here. Cocoon. Gonna connect. Is going to move there, and now they're going to try to throw it in. Misfits looking for their chance to turn the play around, but Mickey's here for the escape spot forward. The play does connect, predicts the flash. It's beautiful from Gorilla, and the shutdown goes to the Thresh.
And so finally, Misfits get themselves a kill, and now the group up.
Denied! Gorilla again, clutch right where his team needs it. Mickey sees the opportunity, but it is turned against him. Perfectly played by the Thresh in the last 2 seconds.
Yeah, Gorilla's performing this game around. Had some rough games earlier on, but looking phenomenal so far on 2 back-to-back massive Flay plays, and suddenly Misfits have tempo in this game.
It only needs one play for Misfits to get their foot back in the door, but remember, they're still at a 6k gold deficit after securing their first tower of the game. So while the play was good, they were able to get some gold back in their pockets. They got a shutdown onto Caps. They definitely still have a long road to climb.
The awkward thing is the shutdown goes to Gorilla, but I think you just have to appreciate the way this plays out.
So this was just Caps overcommitting for this tower. I think they should have been a little bit more patient, because as a result, they now overextend. They don't respect the flash, and even though he flashes away, he flashes in a straight line. Gorilla's able to land the hook, and then he gets the follow-up. Now, Mickey just wants to interrupt this Rift Herald, and if he's able to do it, then they can stop the mid-siege, but unfortunately, he couldn't get there in time. Really good play from Gorilla, ends up with Misfits securing another kill.
The only way that could have gone better is if the gold bounty didn't end up in the Thresh's pocket.
Hansama now needs to run. The Lantern is there, though, to take him out. But as you said, signs of life in the Misfits camp. Still at a massive gold deficit here, but it's good news overall. Sadly, G2 do grab another mountain ring. That is 2-0 on the side of the Misfits.
We're not even 18 minutes into, or just about to hit 18 minutes. That's a Infinity Edge, Static Shiv, Yasuo.
It's a big problem.
That is so bad. Like, that is so much gold. Actually, he has so much more gold than Hansama right now. 2.6k more total gold. It's actually ridiculous how strong Perkz is on this champion.
And with Conquer, I don't think anyone can even touch him in a side lane.
Ryze is the closest you get, but at this point of the game, especially.
Wonder, though, going to do what he can to hold on.
Oh, well, your jungle isn't your jungle anymore.
Just praised Gorilla. They didn't want to show him dying, you know? Now, G2 are just going to take another tower, and interesting to see just how quickly G2 can find those picks and set themselves up for success here. Perkz now roaming up, could run into Maxor. This would be terrible. Goodbye,
Oh, no. Oh.
Crit dead.
Reminder. Ban this champion. Perkz is very good, that's why he got this lead, but this will happen to you in solo queue too.
And the unfortunate reality is that Misfits just don't have anything coming in anytime soon to deal with this snowball that G2 have created. At this point, they're like, just clear out our own jungle, try to find some safe farm lanes to farm, but hold on for this possible Baron in 51 seconds and pray.
Hansama is level 10, Perkz is level 13. He's been given so much solo farm and gold that he's so strong at this point. And Gorilla, he's just trying to clear up vision. He thinks he's fine, but no, he's not. He's really not.
This is like, if Misfits was a karate kid, then these guys are like the world champions of karate. Like there is no hope in this underdog story anymore. Like, this is brutal. This is so hard to watch because Perkz can easily 2v1 the vast majority of the Misfits team, and it feels like it is going to take some miracle plays like that hook in the mid lane from Gorilla if Misfits want to get back in.
And that's what's so terrifying about G2. It's the fact that they make our top teams look so far separated from them.
Yep. And it's funny because like when I talk about Schalke, they remind me a lot of Fnatic from last year, and
Yep.
I mean that Fnatic made it to the World Final. So I think we do have strong teams in Europe, but like G2 just seem to elevate it. And you know they talk a lot about. I mean they said in the Match of the Week video, we want to be what SKT were back in the day, and we want to elevate Europe to a new level. And it honestly does feel like that they've taken one of, if not the best player in each position, and they've put them all onto a single team. And they found synergy through fun. Like, how strange is that?
Power of friendship.
But like, you know, you joke about it.
That's the
but
most
like,
anime thing you have ever said.
But you listen to them, and all they ever say is, it is just so much fun to play with this team. They all get on so extremely well, and like the fact that they play rock, paper, scissors to determine who gets blue buff, do you know what I mean, right?
I haven't heard the power of fun and friendship since I played T-ball. I was 6, Vidius. Apparently it's real. Coach was right. All right, good to know. And G2, I mean, I want to knock it, but you're so right, Vidius. It's like, they look good, and you saw them at the start of this game. They're serious now that they're in game, but every second up until game time, they're just having a good time.
Well, he has a GA now, but he just
He can't die. He can't die.
Yankos, chilling smite, is going to try to walk away here. Flash over the wall, so as trying to follow up.
He's gonna fly in. He's gonna murder a bunch of people.
How does he have so much gold? I mean, I know he got a lot of turret plates, but that's just
He has
ridiculous.
253 farm. It's 21
Oh
minutes.
yeah, oh the Uzi effect, I forgot.
40 above the
I
clock.
think he got 5 of 5 tower plates, and at least 3 of them he got solo. Funneling is not dead. It's alive, and it lives in the heart of Perkz right at this moment. 3 items. First tower kill as well. Production on my side on this one, reminding me of that one. Thank you for that.
And so now they're setting up for the Baron, and I mean Yasuo's pretty quick at taking Baron. No, they won't just start it right now, because that is one way in which Misfits can potentially come back. But
They want to lure them, Vedius. They want to make a
Lure them.
trap.
yeah, they have control over the river. Very patient play. Maxwell's like, they might be doing Baron, and then Mickey's like, we could be. Why don't you come check?
Gorilla's having flashbacks. He's like, guys, every time I walk into the dark, I die. Please don't make me do this.
Oh god. Cap's threatening.
Save him!
He has found summer there to drag him out if he needs to.
Holding off. They're now moving into this funnel. Maybe Maxwell can get some work done. Use the wind wall. That's a major cooldown, but G2 are just going to back off. Misfits, no way to really follow up on that one. And
You know when play-by-play is getting desperate, they go, oh, that's a major cooldown, gone, that's unavailable now. And then Misfits is just like, yeah, no.
Especially when it's wind wall into Corpus.
honestly, I'm playing G2 roulette right now.
Yeah.
I'm just spinning through ways they could possibly lose the game and hoping that one of them lines up so we get a closer game and this isn't just another commanding G2 victory. But it looks like it could just be that.
On good news, though, Misfits have survived the onslaught from G2. They moved into that river and they cleared out a lot of that vision.
Wait, hang on, he didn't go Rageblade second. Unsummer actually has Runeance, okay. So he gets a little bit more wave clear, I suppose, which is fine. But when that Rageblade really comes in, you can get the double procs with the Rageblade passive thing. But then you also have lethal tempo as well, so you just get loads of Ren stacks in, and that's when it's free Rageblade.
Okay, hold on. Mickey is one-man zoning.
Support on combat!
Not for very long. Luckily, Kalista is there to save the day, and it does let the Baron regenerate. Ryze is on the bottom side of the map. Fev been desperately trying to recoup some farm, of course, does have the TP available, but G2 just taking their time on this one.
I'm curious if G2 are eventually going to get bored of this song and dance around the Baron, because they could just throw this Yasuo out into a side lane. And as Vedius was saying earlier, no one can deal with him at this point. You know, G2 don't have to hard funnel into this Baron to make things happen. It makes it easier because it is a 5 melee composition, so it is a bit harder to siege in.
It's true. Yeah, I actually think there's a good point there for us, because they might be a little reliant on the Baron to actually break into the base. Yeah, because I mean they could go for a dive, right? I feel that when you have an Alistair,
and
you can just dive, right? But G2 clearly playing it safe, showing at least some respect to Misfits at this point in the game. But Yasuo now level 15. The experience gap only continues to build. We will also keep our eyes on the Karthus, who hasn't yet completed a major item after his jungle item. But like that, I mean, that's all I've got for us. That's like...
He's like, Yasuo is almost 16. He's going to have 3 points of the ultimate. He's now got a Hex Trigger to his name.
Karthus hit level 11 and has double magic pen items.
That's what we want.
That is true. Round 1.
Run!
No, knocked out. The minion blocks the stun, though. He's a homie. Featherman's running for his life. It's not enough.
Wait, but there's 2 people down on the bot side. Now Misfits trying to make the play
trying to get a follow-up. Cap's now running. They've used Mickey as the sacrificial cow. He's going to try to retreat and does get taken down.
Go back. Do it.
Just do it with the Rend.
You have Karthus, you have Kalista, you have Sion to tank.
2 people are bot side.
Yeah, I actually think they should have tried to force something there, because, oh no.
Flash out. Hook not going to connect. And I'm going to be honest, if you are not confident enough to 2v4 the Aurelia Yasuo, things are looking bad. Perkz now, potentially in trouble. Windwall comes out to stop any follow-up on that angle. Perkz now pulled back. Knockup is there as well, but they just cannot kill him. They're just going to kill everybody. G2 just going to follow up. Maxlor going to get deleted instantly. That's the Elise burst. Folks, I don't know what to tell you.
This is why I'm saying they should have tried the 2v4, because when the other 2 members come in, you're not going to be able to survive that.
Did you see how much damage 2 of their members did?
I mean, Perkz, in his defense, Perkz missed everything. His Windwall went the wrong way. He flashed into a Sion Q, and then he landed a single Q, which enabled him to land the ultimate, and then Cass could get the stun, and then they get the follow-up.
I don't know. I agree. Maybe you go for the Baron, because at this point you're just watching yourself lose the game, but I can understand why they were scared.
I mean, for sure.
Honestly, beating someone this badly is like probably a reportable offense. This is...
So look, Perkz, he misses the wind wall, it goes the wrong way, he then flashes into a Q to get knocked up. But because he's able to land the knockup and Caps is right behind him and the TP comes in from Wonder as well, he's like, well, let's go, I have GA. What's wrong with this? My passive is reset as well, so...
The fact that Jankos can 100-0 someone in the duration of his cocoon is disgusting.
Well, yeah, he's level
AP.
14 Elise.
AP Elise with his hourglass and his needlessly large rod.
It's really upsetting though, because my Elise games never go like this.
That's what you're upset about?
Yeah, you either win, you either get that first gank and you feel like a god, or
Yes,
you spend the
it's
rest of the
literally
game
that
doing no
first
damage.
gank.
Oh, it's brutal.
That's why good Elise players are always really impressive to me, and Janko certainly is a good
Maxlor
Elise player.
Is dead. And G2, this is just a G2 game, folks. I don't know what to tell you. They are so good at League of Legends. They are so untouchable at the top, and we are waiting to see if there's a challenger worthy. And today, Misfits are not looking very worthy. They are getting smacked. Caps, they're going to try to put a lot of resources into it, but meanwhile, they're just going to lose the base. That is a Baron-empowered Elise and a Jarvan. That's a lot of attacks for these droids. Perkz in the mid lane. They just want to kill Caps. They just want to get something, but they're going to lose the game just to try to kill this Aurelia.
Consolation prize.
And that's really all you can say, ladies and gentlemen. G2 grouping in mid lane. Gonna make this one last just a little bit longer. We'll see if they give us another show, if they want to go for another team fight.
I want to see the big Wombo combo at least once. I want to see the Alistar, the Jarvan, the Yasuo all just fly in on like a single target.
Ooh, we see a dive.
So as well played, makes it out safety. Sadly, the tower is still going to die.
Perkz still in the enemy base, says guys, we can end.
Trying to kill solo kill Featherman here. Now goes in. Aftershock is there, buys Featherman a little bit of time for the knockup. Now comes out. Perkz now going to throw the Hurricane back. Not going to connect on anybody for the knockup.
wants
There, but
the
the
penta.
double.
He wants
He's
it.
going in. He's never had a pentakill as an 80 carry. He wants to get one. He wants to match Reckless. He's going to get another. They're not going to give it to him now.
That's a triple.
That's the
No,
trips.
they're going to try and give it to him.
They're grouping. Oh. Going for it. So as very low and very far from the base. No, I'm sorry, Venus. It's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
At the end of the day, ladies and gentlemen, there's not a lot to say, but the G2 remain undefeated in their first half of the split.